Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to be talking about classroom management for substitute teachers. So in my previous video I discussed how subs can manage and plan out their day, and I did mention how this video will be discussing and focusing mostly on classroom management. If you missed my last video, go check out my channel. I have a playlist labeled Teacher Top Tips. Let's get started. First thing you need to do when you arrive to your class is take attendance. Take it the minute the bell rings so you can account for tardy students, and also what I personally recommend is to hold on to the attendance after you take it and say students John Doe and Sally Lane were late and all that. So with attendance, you should take it again 15 minutes into the class to account for any people who are like 10-15 minutes late. After you take it a second time and double check it, sign off on it, and send it down with the student to the main office. That's how it works at the high school that I work at. The next thing you should do is something you should do before you go to class, and that is to plan out how you're going to introduce yourself to the class. The best way to do so is to introduce them saying, "Hi, my name is," for me, my name is Mr. Bergthal. I will be your sub in for Miss Smith today, or whoever, or whatever your teacher's last name is. I'll just use Miss Smith as an example. And today, Miss Smith wants us to work on X, Y, and Z, or whatever's in the sub plans. What you also need to do when you're introducing yourself is state out a cell phone policy of your own. If Miss Smith left a cell phone policy in the sub plans, obviously you need to follow that. If she didn't, you need to create your own cell phone policy. My personal cell phone policy is phones need to be off and away, and they don't need to be out. You don't need to be going on YouTube and watching videos. You don't need to be on social media. You need to be working on whatever assignment's been left for you and such. My other addition to my cell phone policy is when it comes to the restroom, students have to leave their cell phones with me. They can't leave it on their desk, but they actually have to bring it up and place their cell phone in my hand. Like, that's my all-around cell phone policy. They have to hand in their cell phone. If they refuse to hand in their cell phone, the answer is no, you may not go to the restroom. And if an argument sparks up, then they will have one of two choices. Either I take up their cell phone for the rest of the class period, or, and which this is rarely what I do, I've never had to do it before, call security to escort the student out of the class. But that is on very, very rare occasions. I haven't even had to confiscate a phone before. I'm pretty laid back when it comes to my cell phone policy. So it's just, don't be on your phone. Work on your work. If you finish your work, you can get on your phone. And if you want to be on your phone to listen to music, whenever I come by, you have to prove to me you're listening to your music. You're not doing anything else. And if you're listening to music, that's totally cool by me. So either off and away, or you're simply listening to music. You have Spotify or Pandora or iTunes or whatever. The next thing that pops up is the restroom policy. So obviously, what I said previously about cell phones, students have to leave their cell phone with me. And the next thing they have to do, they have to take a hall pass with them. Teachers at the high school that I work at do not have hall passes, which really annoys me. It should be mandatory. All teachers have like an actual lanyard hall pass, but I don't know why some teachers don't do it. So anyway, I've created my own hall pass, and I will give that to the student, and I will tell them that when they come back from the restroom, they need to have that hall pass with them to turn back into me, and if they don't, no one else is allowed to go to the restroom. If they want to go to the nurse's office or something, that they cannot take my hall pass, I will write them a pass to go to the nurse's office, and that's how something. So if a student like starts getting stomach cramps or something, mainly it's for the ladies. If they start saying, hey, I'm going through my lady time right now, can I go to the nurse's office because I'm getting really bad cramps? The answer is yes, of course. I'll write you a pass to the nurse's office. But to ensure you went to the nurse's office, I will call her and I'll literally pull up the contacts in my phone and I will say, hey, this is Nurse Sally's phone number right here, okay? So in 5 minutes, I'm going to dial that number, and if she answers and says, no, Jamie is not here, she has not come to my office, then my next phone call will be down here, which is security. So either you can make it to the nurse's office in 5 minutes like I've asked you to, or I get to call security and they get to go look for you, and if you throw them on a wild goose chase, then there's going to be a lot of problems. Also, when it comes to the restroom, I tell students that if you're going to the restroom, please make it a quick trip. I'm not saying if you're not back in 5 minutes, I'm calling security. I never threaten to call security on instances I don't set a timer on my phone, but I say, please be back, within 5 to 7 minutes, okay? Because, I don't want to cause any issues. I don't want you to cause issues, and I don't want to have to, make your life miserable. I don't want to have to report you to the administration or anything. I don't want to have to do any of that because that's a lot of paperwork on my part, and that is a punishment on your part. I don't like it. You don't like it. Let's make both of our lives super easy and just go by this simple policy. 5 to 7 minutes. Doesn't take that long to go pee and poo. Tell students when I say, 5 to 7 minutes, make it quick, that, that I only let one student out at a time. So until you come back, if your best friend has to use the restroom and you're not back for 20 minutes, well, they're going to have to hold it for 20 minutes and they are going to be very mad when you come back to class. And if you do not show back up to class, I also tell them our school has a very interesting attendance policy. If you were out of class for over half an hour, your presence will be changed to an absence, an unexcused absence. That is students' new restroom penalty for the entire school. Not just, something subs do, but it's for all teachers. If a student is out of the room unexcused, or if they've been allowed to go to the restroom, they don't come back, their presence will be changed into an absence. And it will go on their permanent record, and an office referral will be written. Next thing I want to discuss is assisting students. So assisting students with their assignments is something that a sub should say, I'm not quite sure how your teacher, like in my personal opinion, I don't help students at all with their assignments. As a sub, I just tell them, I don't know how your teacher wants that assignment done, but you probably do. I don't, because I don't know your teacher. Most of the teachers at the school that I work at, most of them I know really well. But I just personally say, I don't want to mess your grade up, so that's why I'm saying, no, I'll try to answer a question, but I could be wrong about this, so don't assume that just because my badge says teacher on it, remember it also says substitute. So I'm not your real teacher, and I could be giving you what I think is the right answer could actually be the wrong answer, or vice versa. I could be misleading you. So don't really go in that direction unless you really honestly know what you're doing, unless you have a specialty in that subject. Like if you're a math nerd or if you're an English nerd and you know exactly what needs to be done or that's left in the subplans, then yes, of course help them. But if it's not in the subplans and you're not an expert in that subject, leave it to the students and just let the teacher know this student had this question. The last thing I want to talk about is disciplinary action. So like I said with the cell phone policy and the restroom policy, obviously security or the administration will be called if a student starts misbehaving and the office referral will be written. But in most cases, subs will just, like, from my experience, I just tell them to knock it off, and they do. So they just chill out because they assume, like, it's the funniest thing. All the students always ask me, they don't ask me, they say, "Mister, you're like the only sub here under 50." That is not correct. We have other subs who are under 50, but I don't know, it's the funniest thing. I'm like, I want to get into an argument with you, if you